Is it true that he did not kill a single person?
Yeah, that's actually true. Gilbert did, Dunn did, but Hall was never responsible for the death of anybody. Not even a wounding. I don't think he even inflicted a wounding on police. Not from my research.
Nothing historically.
He
no.
was involved in many gunfights, and he certainly took a lot of shots at police in exchanges. But whether by choice or providence, that we don't know. He never killed anybody.
It is brought up in the film, but not resolved about when your character challenges him and says, boy, you're pretty lousy shot. Take it on. And then you retort by saying, I hit everything that I aim for. So it seems to imply that he doesn't want to.
Well, that was one of the things in history, because we don't know if it was choice or what we do is we don't let the film answer it, because then I feel the film is taking a side. The film is making a judgment. And what we wanted to do is present the question for the audience and let the audience really pick.
Well, I did have to actually just put you up on that issue, because there are a couple of terrific scenes in the film, one involving the burning of a property and the other one about the killing of a father, that sort of really puts them in it, because this really shows what they're actually doing. There is some reluctance on Ben Hall's part when this occurs, but it's like it's got to be done. We're out here, we're fighting for our lives, people are threatening us, so this is how we retaliate. So you certainly make that point, but I'm just wondering whether, perhaps despite your intentions, the film comes down on the side of Ben Hall.
It will always come down on the side of Ben Hall to a degree, because we are looking at it through a lot of it through his eyes. But we also did not want to shy away from the terrible things that were done by the gang.
Yeah.
So neither did we want to whitewash them. So what we try to do is play out the history as it actually happened. And if it was a terrible thing that was done, show that it's terrible.
Yeah.
We didn't want to... the film will always have an empathy towards Ben Hall, naturally, but we didn't want to whitewash him either. So I kind of wanted people to feel the conflict.
Yeah.
As much as I think Ben Hall felt the conflict of, okay, we are doing wrong things here, and there are consequences, but there's that wrestle within him. So it's a fine line to walk. It's very, very hard, but
this point will come up in a moment when I issue the challenge that I like to issue to young filmmakers. That will come up in just a moment. But I've got to ask you guys about the marketing of the film.
Yep.
This film comes out in a week's time.
Sure.
And it's going to be coming out against the latest Hollywood mega blockbuster film. Do enough people know about this film?
Well, not as many as we would like. I mean,
now, what do you mean by that? What would you want as a filmmaker? I'm serious, and as actors, because you guys have put, presumably, years of work into this. You've done all your research, and you've come up with some terrific performances. You are fantastic in the movie.
Oh, thank
so
you.
you have a lot and you're the lead of the film. You have to carry the movie. You have so much invested in this film. So I'm asking you, frankly, what would you like the public profile to have been at this stage?
Well, look, we would love the billboards and the buses and the TV advertising and all that. That would be fantastic. We have a hard time out there letting people become aware of the film. This is the crowded world we live in, and we are in a situation where we have a small Australian film with an unknown cast, and with a story that is not a franchise or anything. It's a brand new thing, really. We're always going to be on the back foot in this country, especially when we are so swamped with content and swamped with big budget American content.
But tell me what you want. In an ideal world, I'm holding my wand.
Oh, mate.
I'm holding my wand, and I'm going to say, okay, we can travel back in time a couple of months if you want.
Yeah, sure.
But I want you to tell me what you want, what you wish for, what you would wish for.
Yeah, look, I would love a couple of $1 million as a marketing budget. I mean, I've heard the old rule that for every dollar you spend making the film, you need another dollar advertising it. And depending how big budget your film is, that's how much you need to advertise in order to recoup the money you spent on both the advertising and the film. So that's ideally what we want. And we just weren't in that situation. We had to spend every dollar we had making it, and even then we were pushing the limits beyond what we had.
So you didn't have an allocated marketing or publicity
It was
budget?
it was a small budget,
Okay.
and unfortunately, in this world and the way things are and the way films are in the marketplace at the moment, and how hard it is for films to make money. We just did not have those. We just did not have the Hollywood advertising budgets.
So in the ideal world, in the dream,
Yeah.
in the fantasy world, okay, 2 months ago, what would have been happening 2 months ago?
2 months ago, probably you would have had, you would have had bus shelters, you would have had banners, you would have had TV advertising, you would have had these guys going up on big TV shows and talking. You would have had all the big programs running behind-the-scenes specials and all that sort of thing.
You would have had his face on the side of buses. Would have had his face on bus
Exactly,
stops.
absolutely.
With quotes from the film and so on.
That would have been fantastic, and we would have loved that. And I think we all fantasize that would happen or whatever. But it's really hard when we're the new guys. We're new guys on the block, and we've got a film that there've been a lot of naysayers out there thinking, oh, bushrangers, who wants that? But
everyone wants that. People would go to see a bushranger film if they know it's out there.
That's what we felt, and so we always felt really confident in what we had made, and that people wanted this, and we've got a big social media following, but it's hard to convince the powers that be, and we kind of feel like we're always having to prove ourselves, and we hope that despite the lack of, despite our low position here, that we'll still prove something.
Yeah, because you know what's going to happen. Look, you are the latest bunch of young guys to come here and talk to me about the film, and talk about a good film too. Talk about a film that deserves a big audience, and a film that should be getting a bigger audience than it's going to get. I mean, it's going to happen. The film is going to open next week. Hopefully it'll garner some good reviews, and it might run a week or two or maybe 3, and then it's going to disappear. And in a month's time, in 2 months' time, no one's going to know that the film was out there until it hopefully comes out on DVD and gets another burst. Guys, I've seen this happen all throughout this year and last year, but this year especially. And when's it going to stop? I'm serious. What needs to happen for the Australian film industry to have a mechanism where it sees a film like this and says, okay, let's market this film, to the hilt. Let's let people know a month before it comes out that it's going to be in cinemas. Let's put TV ads. Let's have your face all over the TV screen. Let's have your face on bus sides. Let's get people excited about this movie. When is that going to happen? What has to occur for that to happen? The floor is open. Give me some answers.
Okay. Well, look, I would say, first of all, we need some people with some real vision running the place. Like, we really need people that believe, who can look at something and believe in it. I guess there's too much cynicism out there, and you really want someone to, as a filmmaker, I'm always looking for someone who believes in me, because I don't have the money, but I got the skill set to make a film. These guys have got the skill sets to act. I need someone to believe in me and just go, you know what, I see this, I trust it, let's do it and take a chance. Because it is a gamble. That's the other thing. You can put a $1.2 million into a marketing campaign and the film can still fall over. Everyone can know about it, and that's happened. I've seen that happen.
Yes, that's true, but it'll fall over because the audience reacted against it.
Of course.
As opposed to falling over because the audience doesn't know it's there.
Exactly. We're in the situation where we don't have that great big marketing budget in order to even let people people know we are there.
Because again, how old are you?
I'm 39. Sure, I try to get away with it there, didn't I?
Because you put together a great cast, most of whom are relative unknowns. You've got a great cinematographer working on this film. The editing is fantastic. They're all out there riding horses. The film, for the most part, reeks of authenticity. There's so many hooks in this film, and yet too few people know that it's out there.
Well, look, we sit with you in the frustration and the confusion, because we all feel like, hey, we believe in what we did, and we go, man, if only someone would see it and take this and run with it, really hard and have that kind of belief. But we were not in that position. Just as like when we were not in the position to make the film with $10 or $15 million, we were not in that position. And so we just had to do it with what we had. And we kind of find ourselves here at the marketing stage in the same position, having to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
To get people to see it.
Yeah.
And that is just the affliction of the first-time filmmaker and being a filmmaker in Australia in this current market and in this place. And look, in the end, money changes everything. If you got the money, you can make anything happen.
Yeah.
And it's just a difficult world out there. And yeah.
So let me put this challenge to you, and I'll throw this open to all of you, so contribute if you wish. But and this is a standard thing that I do with all independent filmmakers, where I like to basically do a bit of a role play. Okay, and I'm a big shot American studio executive, and I've seen your lovely little movie, and I think this is a really hot little film. This is something that I reckon will play really well in America. I could open it on probably maybe 1,200, 1,500 screens. Give it a good publicity push, make you two guys stars, and I reckon we can we can get a decent turnaround on this film. But as a director, what I'd like you to do is just go back and rework the final stretch of the film. I want you to take the music out. I want you to run it in real time, and I want you to take all the emotional overtones. I want you to take that out of the film. So on the condition that you do that, would you accept a deal whereby I give you national release across the United States? I want you to basically change the ending of your film according to those.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting challenge.
There's no right or wrong answer, by the way.
Oh, no, I get that. Yeah, of course. Look, in the face of that, I would try to compromise. I'd go say, okay, look, I'll work with you to get the ending how you want. But in the meantime, can you let me have a director's cut? So when we have the DVD, people can watch both versions.
Sure. Absolutely.
Then I would say, for the sake of that, I would say, okay, let's go with your version, and I'll do a cut if you're going to give me that kind of exposure. I think, as a filmmaker, you've got to be both. You've got to stick to your vision, but you've also got to know what's commercially viable. If someone's offering you a deal like that, I think you've got to bend a little bit. And in the case of a crazy offer like that, I'd probably be crazy to turn him down. But as long as, in the end, my audience had the option to see my version.
Yeah. I would put that way. I mean, we love DVD, the DVD market. That's such a huge market.
Of course.
We're always looking for content. So anything, behind the scenes footage, video diaries, anything that you guys have compiled during the making of the film, we'd put it on there. The alternate, how many times have you seen on the DVD special edition the alternate version or the alternate endings? Yeah. The 3 alternate endings we had to this film. What? 3? How we changed the film after it was market tested, that sort of thing. In fact, did you market test this movie at all? Did you have a chance to do that?
Not really market test. We held some test screenings where we got lots of different demographics in, and they all sat and watched the film, and then they filled out forms and notes. So we did that in a small scale, like the US do.
Right.
So we did do that, and that helped inform some editing choices and stuff like that. Told us where we were going.
Did you do as much of that as you would have liked? With test screening?
As much as I like. I didn't like any of it, okay. But I did as much as we should have.
Okay, terrific.
It was a painful process for me. I know we had to go through it. I didn't like it, but but we did it anyway. And yeah.
I mean, you're aware that there are Hollywood directors with formidable filmographies who will not make a film, especially a comedy, without test screening. That they will make absolutely sure that it is test screening. So there's no shame in saying
absolutely. Absolutely. The process is full of uncomfortable and things you don't want to do, but you do them anyway. And it's just another one of them, test screenings. And look, sometimes they can expose wonderful things, and sometimes they reveal a problem, and better you fix it now than later.
We have a genre here, and I don't understand why there isn't more backing for bushranger films. I mean, there were dozens of them.
They used to be, but this is the first one we've seen since The Proposition, which was 2005.
Yeah, it's right.
It's 10 years ago.
That's a good point. You can't make one every 10 years.
Yeah, so, it's been a while. We hope this is the beginning of a resurgence. We hope we've started something here. And look, we'd be happy with that. If we've started something, we'll be happy. Even if the film is not going to have this, this mega release, what we see this film as having a longevity. That's what we want this film to have.
In my dream, there'd be a facility, or there'd be some sort of studio system or something that would step in, see your film, pick it up, and say, okay, we will give this film the $2 million advertising budget that it deserves, and we'll let people know about it.
Well, I think in your statement right there is the solution and the problem all in one. We don't have a studio here in Australia. We have government funding bodies, and we've got a bunch of filmmakers clawing their way, trying to make an existence, making a film. We don't have a studio system. We need studios independent of the government that run films as a business. And make profit, money, think of it in this way. We don't have that in this country. And my personal big long-term dream is to actually start that studio and get that going so filmmakers like myself can keep going, and others and the new generation coming up have somewhere to go and take their projects. And this company runs as a business. And there, I think, is where we lack in this country.
And this is why it so often happens that your little film will likely be seen by someone in America who will recognize talent and want to be part of it and pick it up. And then you'll appear in some American film, and then someone will think, well, this guy's going to be great for that comedy. And they'll probably pitch you Godzilla 2 or something. I mean, we've seen these giant steps that filmmakers can make because Hollywood loves that stuff, and because it's not happening here.
No, that's right. Because that's why so many Australian filmmakers, cinematographers and wonderful actors, they go overseas. Why? Because they go where the work is.